I work at the University of Cambridge as a careers consultant, and over the last 10 years, I've interview coached over 800 people. I know what works well in interviews. And in this video, I'm excited to share 5 of the techniques to really help you stand out. 1. When starting to answer an interview question, tell them the structure of your answer first. Let me show you what I mean. Instead of answering the classic interview question, why do you want this job, with, well, I'm interested in this job because ... I strongly recommend instead saying, there are lots of reasons I'd like this job, but I'll focus on 3 reasons in particular. The first is, then you talk through that point, and after you're done, you say, the second reason I'd like this role is because, and so on. It's deceptively simple, but it works so well for a few different reasons. 1. Interviewers know exactly where you are in your answer, so they can score each element easily, so higher. Second, you seem fully in control. And third, it hints that there might be more reasons that you want the role, but they don't get to hear them all. That's a good kind of mysterious. When I first started using this technique in interviews myself, it also helped me massively with my nerves because I knew exactly what I was saying next. So if there was only ever one interview tip I could share, it would be this. Share the structure of your answer with the interviewer right at the beginning of your answer. 2. Use storytelling techniques. Telling stories in interviews is a superpower. We're captivated by stories. They entertain and teach us, which makes them uniquely powerful in interviews. So what does telling stories in interviews actually look like? And how can we do it well? Well, firstly, when describing a bit of work that you've done in the past or a project, talk about how things changed over time. Change is central to storytelling. If you think of your favourite movie, I bet either the main character is undergoing a change or the situation around them is changing. In an interview, communicating change could mean talking about the impact of your work, as well as how you've changed, developed and learned from an experience and how you've applied that knowledge elsewhere. There's another incredibly powerful storytelling technique too, and that's showing why someone did what they did. The best stories let you in on a character's motivation and helps you understand their actions. Here's an example for how that might work in an interview setting. I designed a feedback survey to be both digital and manual with physical sliders so that respondents could give feedback in a way that felt best for them, which I thought would lead to better, more actionable data. Combine that with a sense of change and you'd continue with, as a result, feedback volumes were up over 200% year on year, which then gave greater confidence to invest in measures prompted by the feedback. We installed 2 accessibility aids. You see, giving that insight to the interviewers, both the change and the why, helps them understand you, but it also helps them map your mindset to scenarios, projects, work that they have in mind. And if you've got them thinking about what you're going to be like doing some of their work, you're in really good shape, my friend. 3. Body language, both yours and theirs, whether it's that first handshake or paying attention to interviewers' cues while you are answering interview questions, being conscious of body language can help massively in an interview. For your body language, you want to aim for relaxed and professional. The interview is as much a test for how you will be in that job, meeting new clients, responding to unexpected questions, as anything else. You want to project a sense of calm, even when facing interview questions you might not immediately know the answer to. And as for their body language, whether consciously or not, they will be sending signals. Nodding at a certain rate might suggest more on a particular point, please, or to wind your answer up. Of course, everyone's cues are different, but I think if you reserve at least 10% of your consciousness for being tuned in to body language cues, you're going to do amazingly. And you can engage them directly on this too. You can check in by asking, would you like me to say more on that point? Or the opposite, I could happily talk more about that, but perhaps you might like me to talk about a specific aspect. See, I love this as both an interviewee and an interviewer. I think it signals emotional maturity and respectfulness, and you just can't put a price on those things. 4. Make a good first impression. Countless research studies point to the first few minutes, indeed seconds, being crucial in an interview. In psychology, the anchoring bias shows we put way more weight on information we receive first. So how do we profit from this in interviews? Well, by focusing on the first bits of our interactions and our answers. From when you first greet your interviewer, you can ask them what kind of thing they're working on at the moment, how their day's going, make them feel heard and make them feel seen. And second, remember that very first point from this video. Sharing your answer structure in the first 10 seconds of your answers sets beautiful expectations. I think if you concentrate on getting the first 20 seconds of any answer exactly right, you'll find that the rest of that answer flows so much more easily. And in fact, this is exactly the approach I took when I started out being a speaker and presenter. I used to get really nervous, but I found that the most effective technique was that if I get the opening right, even the first few seconds, I could see it in my audience's eyes, and then it was just a matter of remaining present in that feeling. And I think the same very much applies to interviews too. 5. Make interviews conversational. So the point here is that interviews are kind of strange, right? You would never walk into a party, say, and ask someone about their strengths and weaknesses, or to ask them to describe a time they exhibited good communication skills. It's only deemed normal in an interview setting. So, how might we make interviews more natural? Well, by making them more conversational. This could mean showing appreciation for a question they've asked by acknowledging their work, or when asking questions at the end of an interview, feeling like you can ask follow-up questions based on what they've said. See, it helps you suss them out, and they also get a feel for what it might be like to work with you. When I first tried this technique myself, I used to think, okay, I'm going to get in trouble, or they're going to pull me up on it, or it's not going to be deemed professional. But I paid close attention to their reactions, and each time I could see them visibly relax as well, because honestly, an interview is just as unnatural for an interviewer as it is for an interviewee. So there you have it, 5 techniques to transform your chances at interview. And if you have any questions about these or any other idea or technique you might be thinking about in interview, feel free to drop it in the comments down below and I'd love to respond to you there. Next up in this mini series of interview skills is how to cope better with interview nerves. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being you. I'll catch you next time.